What is going on, guys? Ken here with my Walking Dead episode 11 review. I inked Judas. Weird name, because a lot of people don't like the word inked. But, starting off, remember there will be spoilers from the episode, of course, so if you have not watched the episode yet, I recommend leaving until you have done so. Also, there'll be probably spoilers from previous episodes, so if you're not caught up to the recent episodes, once again, I recommend leaving and coming back when you do so. Comic book spoilers, I usually say them before I usually tell you, so you really don't have to worry about those. There hasn't been major ones that I've spoiled, I guess, in the past 3 episodes, so nothing to worry about the comic books. I'll usually warn you beforehand. Also, I'm not reading the AMC synthesis because they take 15 minutes to release it. I usually do these right after the episode is done. So I'm reading different ones, so some of the stuff could be wrong. Because they put the AMC one in complete. Well, they skipped some stuff, but that one was more detailed, I guess. I don't know. I'm just reading a different one. So last week I got a couple things wrong, but that was just because the synthesis I'm reading. It's used for me to review, just to make sure I don't miss anything important, because sometimes I do. So episode 11 starts off. They're back in the prison. Merle is there now, which doesn't make some people happy. I would guess Glenn and I was about to say Maggie, but Michonne. Merle's locked up, and Herschel's still pleading to leave, which is not a bad idea at this point. And then Glenn pretty much backs up Rick, trying to be, I guess, the leader, but he fucked up last week. Merle chiming in saying they should have left before last night. And he explains the governor, that little truck scene that the governor did is just ringing the doorbell, in Merle's words. Herschel's still complaining about he wants to leave, and this is like a big thing in the promo thing before the season, where Herschel yells at Rick, "Get back here," and that happens here. Rick's just, I guess, ignoring everybody at this point. I don't know what his dealio is. And pretty much says, you said this isn't democracy, and he has to own up to it. So, kind of a, oh, and then this leads up to an important scene that a lot of people in the watching the promos behind season saw this too. Rick goes outside, he's looking at the area, and pretty much Carl comes out and says, "You shouldn't be the leader anymore," or he should step down. Rick is he's just like pissed off Rick. So pretty much just, it was only important. It was before the intro. And then after the intro, they come to the Woodbury. They're assembling a army. There's going to be child soldiers. There's a kid named Noah that has asthma, and Andrea, whatever you want to call her, she's a bitch. Says no. You get this whole thing. You pretty much find out they're building an army with unexperienced people. And I think Andrea finds out that he did attack the prison, but the governor said that they attacked him, being the little master plan he has, trying to trick her. So the governor is pretty much just denying Andrea at this point. I'm gonna call her Andrea. So yeah, they're building up an army, child soldiers. But yeah, this whole thing just about Andrea finding out about the prison being attacked and this kid. Another just kind of a cringe-worthy scene, I guess. Martina's thing, but Martina just pretty much shooting her down. Back at the prison, they're trying to figure out how they're going to clear the gates and seal up the gate. They're going to need ammo, which they pretty much point out that they're running out. But I'm just reading this. I'm trying to read this thing, get ahead. But Glenn pretty much brings up Merle that is staying there pretty much during this thing. And Daryl pretty much says he's staying or I'm leaving again. And Rick tells Glenn off. He's not kicking Merle out. And Glenn says this: I wouldn't ask you to try and live with Shane after he tried to kill you. So he's kind of bringing up this whole the Shane thing. Herschel is defending Merle too at this point. And Glenn comes up with a plan to offer Merle to the governor, who they think at this point is this traitor, and as a peace offering, and Rick nods his head. Then they show Merle taping his duct taping a knife to his stub. And Herschel goes in there, talks to him, explains how he lost his leg, explains that Rick did it, and he explains how he gave more time for his daughters, and kind of brings up the Rick thing. And Herschel brings out a Bible. This is a very interesting scene. Sorry if I keep stopping trying to read this on a loose track, but he starts quoting the Bible, and Merle finishes it. And this is where the Merle-Herschel relationship kind of happens. You didn't really think would happen because Merle captured his daughter, but Merle says the only thing he misses about Woodbury is the library. So we know Merle, he has a good side to him. Will it come out and be the only side? I doubt it. We'll probably see a little bit more, but I don't know. But it's a nice start. He explains. I'm going to quote this: when the governor returns, he's going to kill me first, Michonne, then my brother, then your girls, Glenn, Carl, the baby, and whoever else. And he's going to save Rick for last so he can watch them die. And that's who you're dealing with. So Merle is once again chiming in with the governor, what the governor will do, and how he is, pretty much. And back at the Woodburys, I don't know, Woodbury's really tame in this episode until the end, pretty much. They're back with this Noah kid, and the governor making Andrea, her Noah's personal teacher for shooting a gun. Just another weird. It was pretty much a pointless scene. I don't know why it was in there. Then you got a Carol Daryl scene. Pretty much goes in there, says, "Welcome, you're back." It says, Daryl pretty much explains that the prison is a tomb to what he thinks. So maybe he's on the side of Glenn. And Carol brings up T-Dog. So we got a Shane reference, we got a T-Dog reference this episode. And then she says, I'm going to quote this. She pretty much says that Merle brings Daryl down, and that he's going to stop his progress of how he's changed. And they both look around the cell and start laughing. Quite a weird scene. A lot of pointless scenes in this episode. Like I said, it's a tame episode. After an episode like last week, you really just can't be going that fast. You gotta slow it down. You gotta see some of the character development But you know, there's probably the middle point is probably where it's slowest. Back at Woodbury, if he Andrea Milton scene, Andrea. I always want to put the Dre in there. She's not Dr. Dre. She's nowhere near Dr. Dre. And she basically tells Milton to cover for her so she can go to the prison. And she, she's telling Milton, we gotta end this. Why can't we be friends? Just reading this right now. And she wants to go to prison to pretty much tell them that they're arming with child soldiers. I don't think that's gonna stop Rick. He's already killed Sophia and then that one kid he sees in the beginning. So I'm pretty sure he'll kill anybody at this point if they have a gun and are shooting at him. So that really won't stop him. And then you get the this is where he cauterizes the governor. He takes the thing off and the band-aid and cauterizes the wound. If you don't know what that is, you just pretty much burn the wound closed. It's what he does. I don't know why it took that long, but whatever. And he puts on the black eye patch, which is I guess you could say symbolism for him completing the transformation to the new governor. He's not even close to the comic book governor. Will we get that close? No. It's TV. I don't think they will allow half the stuff that happened to him or what he does. So Milton does come into the room after that, and he tells the governor that Andrea is going to the prison, and the governor tells Milton to go with her. The governor, I don't know why the governor does this, probably just to, I don't know, maybe get some inside info on here. But, who knows what the governor's going to do. I mean, everybody thinks Merle's a spy. I don't know. He probably sends Milton to just get an inside look at that prison. I would guess, seeing that he just came and told that Andrea is going to the prison. So he's probably just trying to use Milton at this point. So they're on their way there, both of them are. And we get a nice little cameo. Andrea, I always want to call her Andrea. Andrea uses the Michonne method, which I'm going to call is use a walker to get around other walkers. She uses like a wrangling device, I guess, what you can call it. And we see Tyrese. After one episode missing, we see Tyrese. He's outside the prison. Seeing the fact he's outside the prison and when they attacked, I don't know. People are going to complain about plot hole, but I really don't care. They end up showing up, whatever. They didn't just bring him in and leave him. I guess that's even worse. But people are going to complain about the plot hole line where they went during that fight. Did they see the fight? You'll find out later in the episode. But Tyrese pretty much finds Andrea and Milton. Michonne, back at the prison, Michonne's doing push-ups. Merle comes there and wants to clear the air. Pretty much tells him he's doing business. Merle's trying to clean up the mess that he has, I guess. Is it sincere? I don't know. I doubt he changed that fast, but he's, will be loyal to the group. Who knows at this point. Michonne pretty much ignores him. And then back to the Milton Andrea journey. They tell Tyrese and his group about Woodbury. Milton ends up taking them to Woodbury, leaving Andrea to herself. Will the governor be mad? Probably not. There's more people, not kids, that know how to use a gun. So, they're gonna end up at Woodbury. And trying to read this and trying to make the best sense of it. But yeah, pretty much that's it. Tyrese is going to Woodbury, the group now. He does ask Andrea where she's going. She says she's fine and leaves. She's at the prison. Maybe they would have gone back in the prison. I don't know. They might have scarred her away from it. It could have been that was a big miss right there. For both groups, pretty much. But she does go near the prison, and they see her. They recognize her, and she tells everybody to come out. Everybody comes out with guns. Everybody, which just shows that after that attack, they will not take one. They see one person bringing everything out. Everybody comes out, even Merle, with a gun. They have their weapons drawn at her. She's screaming, "Open the gate!" She comes in, and they pretty much check everything. They want to make sure she has no guns or anything. They're in full war mode, pretty much, and she's shocked. How can you be shocked when you get attacked? You're in prison and you get attacked. You lose one guy, and Andrea doesn't know yet about everybody dying. She didn't know about the prisoners, so this is kind of a big scene coming up. So they're in the prison, pretty much explaining like what happened after Andrea saved Carol. They tell her about Lori dying, about Shane, T-Dog. Andrea tries to express her sorrow and reaches out to Carl, but he denies her. She asked if they live in the prison, if she could see it. Rick denies that, which is smart because she's with Woodbury. She's got this whole emotion. She's the state of the enemy. Enemy of the state, I should say. I completely messed it up. No, she's a friend, not an enemy. And Rick just says they had the field and courtyard before your boyfriend tore it down and everything. Andrea tells them that the governor told her that they attacked first. They shoot that down. This whole thing is pretty much Andrea. This whole episode, this part is a punching bag. Pretty much they keep punching her back, and all of her regressions are punched back. She did not know about the attack. She said, well, she didn't. And Andrea tries to talk to Michonne. Michonne shoots her down. And she just goes in this whole thing about how they were in Atlanta, pretty much Atlanta, and now she's the odd man out. And Glenn says the governor tried to kill Michonne, almost killed him and Maggie, and Andrea points to Merle and blames that on her. She says Philip, I think, instead of the governor. And she's trying to play peacemaker. This pretty much this whole thing is being peacemaker. Like I said earlier, she wants to go there because they have child soldiers, and she's trying to recruit pretty much them to Woodbury. And Merle starts laughing, and that she knows better than that. Pretty much, just shoot it down. And Hirsch wants to know if the governor wants to negotiate. Andrea says no. She explains that she did come because they're gearing up for war. Daryl makes a threat that he's going to take the governor's other eye. Glenn says they've been taking shit for too much long, and that if the governor wants a war, he's got one. And Rick says the only way she can make this right is get him into Woodbury. Them inside Woodbury. Not like, we're friends, but get inside there and take it down. And Andrea refuses, and Rick just leaves. She probably like, oh my god. Get all pissy about it, but Andrea and Michonne having a family reunion or whatever, I don't know. was reading this book, because there's not really, it's an Andrea scene, so it's kind of like you gotta speed through it. And Michonne pretty much says, you're still under the governor's spell. She says that the governor sent Merle to kill her. I don't think she knew about that. And Michonne says if she went with her, she would have got shot. She would have been, Merle went after her too. And then she says she chose a warm bed over a friend, and that's why Michonne went back to Woodbury to expose the governor who he is, hurting Andrea. Michonne is the only one walking away while Andrea is still shocked and crying. So pretty much guilt trip, pretty much. So back at Woodbury, Tyrese's group is there. This is probably the most important scene. This is gonna be a big, every episode's gotta have a big scene. This is the one. So Tyrese's group is in there. They tell him that they'll do anything to get in the group. He says good because, and they says, as you're ready to leave, head west, stay away from the north. They say they just came from there, and they ran into some whack job at the prison. This is why the scene's big. The governor, is the ward of the prison, he says, you saw him, and Alan explains he's a screaming idiot. Terry says Rick is a little unhinged, but the others seem decent. He explains that everything was cool until the leader came back. Bill and Ness said they were in the prison. They explain that Rick chased them out pretty much, and they offer their help to them. Tyrese says they'll fight for it pretty much, and Milton asks if they can describe the layout of the prison, and during this whole thing, the governor is staring at Sasha. We're getting at 22 minutes here. I just saw. I'll try to wrap it up as fast as possible. Andrea holds the baby for the first time. Carol explains Lori and T-Dog's death to Andrea, and then the big one is she finds out that Rick killed Shane, and she explains why. Andrea's shocked from this, and Carol comes with probably the line that best describes this thing. Shane loved Lori, because Andrea says, but Shane loved Rick. But Carol just pretty much says Shane loved Lori. And she points out, Andrea once again points out that Rick is cold and unsteady. Carol states he has his reasons. So, and then another, Carol, being the smart person she is, explains to Andrea she needs to go back there, sleep with the governor, give him the best night of life, and kill him. She doesn't say anything, but she's just like, stupid face. They're giving a car to Andrea to get back to Woodbury, so they kind of have some carrying there for her, but they still are not going to let her in, but they'll give you the spare car, and she says yes. Pretty much Rick comes back to her, gives her a gun, says be careful. So there's a sense of hope that she can get possibly back in the group, but they're not going to allow her. She's with Woodbury, pretty much. Back at Woodbury, Andrea is back at the department. Before the scene, actually, they had the child soldiers on the gate protecting. She gets out of the car and Martinez recognized her, so she must have died due to the child soldiers. She goes back to the apartment. She says she went to the prison, explaining that they're broken, living in terrible conditions, and the governor asks if Michonne, Merle, and Rick were there. He says, then pretty much the governor stands up, walks over to Andrea, and says, tells her, asks pretty much before this, asks why she came back. She says, and she's like, did Rick send you back? She said, no, sorry for my chair, it's squeaky. So pretty much the governor is being manipulative again. So she pretty much states that she came back by choice and says, and the governor's just like, you belong here. Another terrible Woodbury scene. Um, Back at prison, Beth breaks out in the song. Rick's, it's just, they're calming down, I guess. And they're reminiscing what just happened, reunion. And then Rick explains he's going to go on a run tomorrow for ammo. Daryl volunteers to go, but says that he's got to go with Murrow. Rick explains that Daryl, I'm happy you're back, but you gotta cover Murrow. So Rick decides to bring Michonne and Carl. Rick decides to bring Carl because he decides he's ready, and Beth starts singing again, pretty much. And the ending of this episode is Andre doing what Carol said to sleep with him, give him the best night of his life, but she doesn't finish. He just holds a knife and backs up, and she stares out a window. So, nothing big in this episode really. The group denies Andrea. Tyrese is at Woodbury, and they explain to the governor of how to get in the prison. They know how to. They probably will. It just, right now, if we had to take a bet on who's going to win, we know Rick's going to win against the governor. We don't know when it's going to happen, but for a TV series, and seeing that season 4 is here, and I doubt they're going to go another 16 episodes of Woodbury, we know Rick's going to win the war. How long it's going to take, I don't know. But if we had to make a choice who would win right now, it would be the governor, because he has inside track of how to get in the prison. He has more people. They're unexperienced, but outnumbering might do a little bit of a favor, and they know the layout of the prison a little bit. So the governor's got the upper hand at this point. But like I said, we know Rick's going to win at some point. We just don't know when. But that is it for this episode 11 review. Longer than I expected. I kind of rambled on a little bit, but tame episode. Next week's a tame episode. I do know something about next week's episode. Pretty sure a lot of people do. But that is the end of the episode. If you want to stick around, I'll be doing the episode 12 speculation, talk about the promos and that. So if you're not one of those promos people, then you can leave. But now I'm going to start a discussion of episode 12, the speculation, I should say, not discussion, but episode 12 is going to be a, I think it'll just, Woodbury, the prison, is not going to be part of this episode. I think it's just going to be a homage to season 1, pretty much. Morgan's going to show up in this episode. They're going back to the hometown. I'm pretty sure everybody knows this. Morgan's been confirmed. It's been a while. But they are coming. They are going back to King County, where Rick was living before the whole zombie apocalypse happened. So they do go meet with Morgan. Been a lot of speculation what happens to him. I'm pretty sure at this point that his son is dead. Morgan's son. Because he's really been. They haven't really talked about it. Anybody has. You really only see Morgan. So I would guess Morgan and Rick kind of have something in common. They're both crazy, I guess. So it's going to be nice. It's just a nice little step back from Woodbury in the prison. They're just going to, like I say, pay homage to pretty much season 1. They're going to go find Morgan. People have been asking for Morgan for 2 years now. So they're just gonna, everything's gonna be set aside. It's gonna be Rick, Michonne, and Carl and Morgan, pretty much. So pretty. Episode 11, episode 12 are just gonna be tamed episodes, pretty much. Episode 13, I don't know. It would probably start picking up a little bit more. But it's there's only 4 characters. Episode 12, which is not a bad thing. We'll probably learn a lot, probably, so. But that is it for this video. Hope to see you next week for the episode 12 review. It's going to be shorter next week. I know that because of how the episode's probably going to be. It's going to be 30 minutes again. But thanks for watching. I hope to see you next week. Links are below. Subscribe button. I don't know why I put it down there, but I just do. And Twitter. Follow me there, I guess, for stupid shit and updated videos if they don't go to the subscribe box, which I don't have a problem with. I don't know why other people do. Could be server based. I don't know. But that is it. And I will see you next week. Sunday night, Monday morning, whenever I upload it, because internet's not that fast. So 30 minutes takes a while. Bye.